Hey ladies and gents, it's SpoonyPizzas here with a brand new eFootball 2022 video. Today we're going to be looking at the Manchester United player pack and also the nominating contracts, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on who you should be looking to get and giving you my thoughts on the actual players themselves. So first off, let's go into Manchester United, shall we? So the three legends we're going to be trying to roll for are Peter Schmeichel, Paul Scholes and Dennis Law. So let's just take a look at Peter Schmeichel first. And as you know, he's an 89 overall rated goalkeeper. I just saw the overall at first, so I wanted to make sure like what the hell is going on, because for me personally, Peter Schmeichel is probably the greatest goalkeeper I've ever seen. He's better than Kahn. He's better than David De Gea, Thibaut Courtois, Alisson, Edison. Honestly, this guy was an absolute giant. One-on-ones, I don't think I've ever seen anyone make themselves as big as he did. And the amount of one-on-one saves he made was incredible. But not only that, like some goalkeepers produce maybe one, maybe two at best, world-class saves. Like literally the best saves you've ever seen. Peter Schmeichel, to my knowledge, the one against Rapid Vienna, if you've not seen that, go check that out. The other one was probably Lee Chapman against Leeds United. Doesn't get spoke about a lot, but that was also incredible saves. His performance against Juve in the Champions League, I think it was semi-final or quarter-final. I remember watching that game and I was thinking, damn, how good was that performance? In fact, that night I went and played in goal after watching the game, and I literally played the game of my life. I don't even normally play in goal normally, but he just inspired me that night. It was just ridiculous. So let's just take a look at his stats, shall we? 87 goalkeeper reflexes, 87 reach. That is huge. That is massive. And his goalkeeper awareness is 83. So even though his overall is not all that great, that's probably two of the best stats that you could probably have for a goalkeeper, along with the goalkeeper awareness. I probably boost the goalkeeper awareness through training because the reflexes and reach are really, really good. So, whilst I was disappointed with the overall rating, those are outstanding. This is probably the number one goalkeeper I would have in my team if I could get him a role for him. So that is insane. And look at the height as well. Don't forget to take that into consideration, because that adds on to his reach as well. So he's an absolute giant in goalkeeper, absolute giant goalkeeper. In terms of his player skills, low punt, long throw, penalty saver and captaincy. So the perfect player skills for any goalkeeper, if I'm being brutally honest. And he's got unwavering form, and he's got a B rating form as well. So that's also worth taking into account. Paul Scholes, probably one of the best midfielders in, a lot of people say like he was the best. For me personally, there's so many good midfielders, the Iniestas, the Xavis, but I would probably when I was watching Manchester United growing up and the class of 92, I always thought Beckham was the best. For me, when I watched him, he just seemed to have the most impact. I never really truly appreciated Scholes until his later years, when people used to say like he's controlling the game. I was like, yeah, he is. But for sheer, when he's on the ball, explosiveness, crossing, shooting, oh my God, David Beckham was untouchable for me when I was growing up. So, but yeah. Anyway, let's just take a look at Paul Scholes here. Good kicking power, so obviously he's going to be able to smash him in from range. Lofted passes is pretty good. Disappointed with his tight possession and ball control, because I thought that would be higher. He had a really good first touch. He's bring it under control, one touch. That lofted passing is better accurate, because he was able to just spray the ball anywhere he wanted and pick out some ridiculous passes from deep. So his stamina is decent as well. I don't tend to look too much into speed and acceleration, as you know, in this game. Finishing is good. So he's a very, very well-rounded midfielder, and he does favour that sort of long ball counter style. So it wouldn't be for me personally, but let's just take a look at his player skills. Heading, that's quite surprising. And he was good at heading. I remember in the papers, seeing Paul Scholes saving millions in one of the papers. And so Alex Ferguson basically saying, he was looking for a striker, and he was going to bring Paul Scholes through the ranks to play as a striker, but obviously he ended up in that midfield slot instead, where he just absolutely dominated. But he's got dipping shot, rising shot, first time shot, one touch pass, weighted pass, pinpoint crossing, lifted pass, and fighting spirit. All good stuff to have as a midfielder. And let's not take into account and not forget that he's got that defensive engagement. So if you're playing if you want a 4-4-2 style, you need a player who can do not only the good stuff going forward, but you want that defensive engagement as well, which is really good. It's got aggression, which is also quite a useful stat in terms of how well they'll retrieve the ball. He hasn't, and he has got that fighting spirit, which is going to definitely help. Hasn't got interception, So, you know, if you are going to play him in a two for that 4-4-2 style, you're going to have another player who's either got interception or blocker for sure. Otherwise, you're going to get passed through quite easily. But other than that, you know, good balance as well. That's not a stat worth. Definitely a stat worth having as a central midfielder as well. Enables him to just retain possession of the ball better when under pressure. So another really good player in this pack. And then finally, Dennis Law. This guy is ridiculous. That offensive awareness, look at that, 87. That's going to be one of the highest. He's got a B form rating as well. But look at the jumping, 93. And he's got really good heading and finishing. So in the box, he's going to be really, really good. You know, he's a goal poacher. So he's going to be looking to play on the last man. So if you are playing sort of, you know, a counter-attacking style or anything like that, you are going to have to boost that with, especially with quick counter. That's right down to 45, which probably would have suited him down to the ground. But, you know, he could probably do anything. I would have preferred him to be a fox in the box. You know, if you're crossing in from in the wide areas, that style seems to be best for receiving crosses. So, you know, but goal poacher is absolutely fine. He's going to, you know, end up putting the ball into the back of the net. Other than that, he's got good tight possession as well for a striker. His ball control is a little bit low, so I'd probably train that up just a fraction, just so he gets the ball under control. The last thing you want to do is play an amazing ball through. You know he's going to be there, but then that first touch lets him down. So you may want to boost that ball control if you are going to train this guy. I just want to go back to Paul Scholes and just pick up on his form rating, which is B. And he also has unwavering form as well. He's also got high weak foot accuracy, which is actually quite important for a midfielder, because if you think about it, you know, when you turn, if you've got, you know, if you're not facing the right way or whatever, he can use that weaker foot and he's going to maintain that sort of high pass accuracy that he's got. Okay, so here we are. We have a bunch of players that we can look at and review here for the nominating contract. So all you need to do is play 5 events and you'll unlock a 5-star card. So let's start off with probably the most talked about player, Haaland. So let me just digest his stats here and look at that. The first stat I looked at, because I know what's going to happen with Haaland. I know what's going to happen with the likes of Drogba. Look at that balance stat, 53. That is pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. This is a guy I would not recommend at all based on that stat alone. When I come up against players and I'm playing against players, as soon as I see Haaland in the lineup, I am like rubbing my hands. I'm like, thank goodness. I've faced Haaland countless times and he scored once. He scored once, and that was because I had like a really, really bad defender at the time, which was Zabi. And I tried to outmuscle him, and he's always going to win that battle. Look at his physical contact. That's 87. That's ridiculous. So on that occasion, I used the wrong button at the wrong time, and he actually scored from a pretty good angle. So he has got high offensive awareness. He has got decent finishing, heading, but that balance that I just can't get over that. I cannot get. I don't understand what the thinking is from Konami here. His tight possession is pretty bad. You know, he hasn't got the ability to really lay the ball off either. 63 for low passing or 61 for lofted passing. He's really, really not very good in my opinion. And his acceleration and speed's all to whack as well. This has got to be one of the worst players you could probably sign for a 5-star rated card. Do not sign this guy in my opinion. We'll take a look at his player skills, heading, chip shot control, rising shots, and, you know, a bit gimmicky. Acrobatic finishing is useful. First time shot is very useful. Penalty specialist, super sub. You know, he could come off the bench and do a bit of business for you. And fighting spirit's also nice to have, you know, especially with that physical contact being so high. But I really cannot recommend this guy. Don't waste your 5-star card on this guy. You're just wasting your points. Ibrahimovic, wow, target man. Okay, so, you know, his balance 69, straight away instantly better than Haaland. Tight possession, offensive awareness, ball control. So he's going to really be able to link in the play very, very nicely. This is a player I probably would recommend just based on the fact he's got real good tight possession, really good ball control. So he's going to be able to bring the ball under control, lay it off, build your attacks through him. And, you know, he's not the quickest, but speed and acceleration, if you've seen my player stat, my player stat video, you'll know that's not important for a striker in this game. It's not important at all, really. But the rest of it, everything else, he's so nicely rounded. He's got good low pass as well. Like I say, he can bring the ball in control, lay it off. He can finish. You know, this is a player I definitely would go for. He's got high team. You know, he's got high rated team styles as well, so he can suit any team style pretty much. Yeah, his form rating is C. But we'll look at his player skills so far. So sombrero, soul control, which is really nice for the finesse dribbling. Heading, knuckle shots are nice to have. You know, just sort of like gimmicky again, along with the rising shot. Acrobatic finishing is really important. Heel trick is a real nice one to have if you want to score that spectacular goal. You know, where he does the old scorpion kick and the back heel finishes. First time shot, one touch pass, captaincy. That, oh my goodness. I think this guy is probably the player I would go for. It's no brainer between him and Haaland, that's for sure. Absolute no brainer. But this guy is probably the best so far out of the two we've seen. I don't think we'll see a better player. Ben White, so just looking straight into his defensive engagement and awareness. Those are the two probably most important stats. But he's also got low passing as well, and ball control and lofted passing. So he can play the ball out from defense. Pretty much, you know, he's not a slouch. He's got 69 acceleration, 76 speed. That's pretty quick for a defender. You know, he's not the best, but for a ball playing defender, not too bad at all. So dive into his player skills. Heading, weighted pass, man marking, interception, acrobatic clearance is really good to have as a defender, as is interception, of course, and fighting spirit. So, you know, he's not the most physical for 77, but enough to deal with most strikers. Jonathan David, so a central forward, and just looking at his stats here, speed and acceleration, so he knows he's going to be quick across the ground. He's got good teams playing style, so he's very balanced, so he could play for any particular style. Again, he's the sort of striker that's going to link in your play, but I think for 5 stars, I think I'll probably lean towards Ibrahimovic. Yeah, he's got double touch, which is very, very nice to have. The first time shot, one touch pass, outside curler. You know, the one touch pass and first time shots, like pretty much key now for any sort of striker that you want to link the play in and have the, you know, how many times do we see that low cross? If you've seen my latest video on the crossing and finishing and how to prevent missing sitters, the first time shot is really key, so definitely need that for a striker. And he's got standard form, high weak foot accuracy, and he only occasionally uses his weak foot. Sebastian Haller, obviously a very, very good target man for Ajax, did really well after his poor spell. I think it was West Ham or Newcastle. I think it was West Ham. But really good heading, really good finishing, tight possession, offensive awareness, and ball control. And the balance stat is a little bit low, bit worrying for a target man, so probably, you know, probably wouldn't lean towards this guy over Ibrahimovic. So yeah, definitely probably go for Ibrahimovic if you're going to go for the target man out of any of these. But we'll look at his player skills. Heading, good to have. One touch passing, through passing, gamesmanship. Bit disappointing that he hasn't got the first time shot, you know, and I probably would not go for this guy based on that stat alone. Gallagher, box to box midfielder, played really, really well last season, you know, on loan from Chelsea to Crystal Palace most of the season, and just, you know, he's going to be really good at carrying the ball with that speed and acceleration, tight possession, ball control, dribbling, low passing. So very, very mobile midfielder, but he's also good as a 2 in that midfield just because of his defensive engagement, similar to Paul Scholes that we touched on earlier, and his tackling is pretty good as well, and tons of stamina. So he's not really going to tire in that midfield, even if he is if you are making him as a 2 in that midfield. One touch passing, fighting spirit, first time shot, you know, really good to have as a midfielder breaking into the box. So very, very nice to have, but there's no interception there. So, you know, if you are going to make him a 2, same as Paul Scholes, you need someone who's going to have that interception or blocker stats or player skills, should I say, in his arsenal. Looking at the characteristics, you know, he's got standard form, so decent player for 4 stars, but I think there's probably better or have been better midfielders out there for 4-star nominating contract. Klaus, fullback finisher, plays right midfield, but he also can play a right back, so we'll be considering him for both these positions. Really good speed and acceleration, very, very nice ball control, dribbling, tight possession, low pass, lofted pass, so he can do pretty much everything. He's got good defensive engagement as well, so really good defensive stats. He's got good stamina, very important if you're going to have a player that's going to bomb down the wing from the right back position. But look at his player skills. This is actually a very, very underrated midfielder, sort of right midfielder, because he's got acrobatic finishing, he's got pinpoint crossing, really useful for that wide area, especially as a fullback or right midfielder. Low lofted pass, interception, sliding tackle, acrobatic clearance, which is really good for a fullback because when he tucks back in and you want him to defend, he can clear the ball acrobatically, and that is actually really useful to have when defending your penalty box, and fighting spirit as well. That's very nice to have as well. So overall, a very, very solid right back here. You know, if you're looking for a right back, then I would definitely not hesitate in recommending this guy. I'm probably going to murder this guy's name, Cockley, but just looking at this player, he is a central midfielder, 21 years old. So if you have got those sort of managers who progress younger players, this is actually a really nice player to have, especially sort of on the ball. 4-star rated player, tight possession, dribbling, ball control. Very, very nice to have in terms of being able to get the ball under control. And he's very good at carrying the ball as well with that speed, acceleration, tight possession. That's all really nice to have. Decent low passes and lofted passing stats, and really good stamina as well, and balance. So a very, very nice midfielder, very tidy, creative playmaker, can suit all the team styles as pretty much everyone else can as well. One-touch passing, through passing, and pinpoint crossing, probably the ones to have. And he's also got very nice to have as a low lofted pass, able to play those sort of low lofted passes over the defensive line, which is very, very nice. Dipping shot and long range shooting is sort of nice to have. So, you know, he hasn't got bad kicking power either, so, you know, can probably score the odd long shot here or there. So a very, very nice player to pick up, very tidy. Next up is Furuhashi for Celtic. He can literally play anywhere in the wide areas and even up front as well. Just 26 years old. He's pretty good with his speed and acceleration for carrying the ball, but not all that great once he gets it. So only 73 for dribbling. So obviously, like I touched on in that player skills video, that, you know, if you've got speed and acceleration, you need dribbling to compensate when he receives the ball. So great with pace without the ball, which isn't all that important. So this is probably a player I couldn't recommend picking up for 3 stars. He's got double touch, which is perfect to have as a wide player. Through passing, also nice to have. And first time shot, if he does get in the box, or you do play him through the middle, that's also very, very nice to have. But he has got track back, so he's going to work defensively for you in those sort of right midfield, left midfield positions. So quite nice if you wanted to use him as a sort of wing back. David Alaba. So obviously he can pretty much play anywhere across the back line, and also defensive midfield, left midfield and central midfield areas as well. Defensive awareness is really important for a defender, as is the engagement, as I touch on so many times. So, you know, whilst he's not brilliant at like sort of winning the ball back through that defensive engagement, he is going to be in the right position to defend. So that defensive awareness is really important. He's got tons of pace and speed. He's great at like passing the ball out from defense. So a very, very solid player to drag the ball out from defense. I would definitely recommend this guy. I can't think why I wouldn't be able to recommend him. He's got stats in all the right places. Good at jumping as well. That's a nice to have. Stamina, balance. So he can pretty much do everything, and he could play that defensive midfield role very, very nicely. Very nicely. Probably underrated in my opinion. And he's also got a really nice play style. If you are going to play him as a defender, it's build up. So definitely recommend that. I would probably play him as a centre back based on these stats, but he could play left back just as well. And let's just take a look at his player skills. So the ones we want to look for: one-touch passing, through passing, weighted passing, pinpoint crossing, interception, sliding tackle captaincy. All those are must-haves as a defender. So probably one of the best 5-star signings you could probably make from this pack. Maignan, so his goalkeeper reach. So he's a goalkeeper. His goalkeeper reach and reflexes aren't all that high for a 5-star goalkeeper, so I probably wouldn't recommend this guy. He has got good goalkeeper awareness, which is obviously the second key stat to have, but you know, a good goalkeeper, but probably not the best. He's got goalkeeper high punt and long throw, which are certainly nice to have, but for 5 stars I think you could probably spend your points elsewhere. Christian Eriksen on his way to Manchester United. This is a player. This is definitely a nice player to have. Attacking midfielder. He's got really good passing stats. He's such a nicely well-rounded midfielder or attacking midfielder. He's got stats in all the right positions, you know, for tight possession, ball control, low passing. You can also take the set pieces as well. 85 and 86. Very, very nice for those sort of curled free kicks. And I'm going to bring out a free kick tutorial on pretty much how to score every single one of them. So looking at his player skills, we've got one-touch passing, through passing, weighted passing, pinpoint crossing, and those are absolutely perfect to have as a midfielder or attacking midfielder. And just look at that map at the top. He can't just play central midfielder or attacking midfielder. You can literally play him anywhere. I probably wouldn't play him in defensive midfield because he hasn't got the defensive awareness or engagement to really fulfill that role. But pretty much anywhere else, even in the wide areas, because he has got pinpoint crossing, he could definitely play there, but I'd probably lean towards playing on the right because he's right-footed if you are going to do that. Philippe Coutinho, playing for Aston Villa now, and, you know, he's a very, very nice attacking midfielder to have. You know, the classic number 10, it's very, very nice if you are playing sort of a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-5-1 sort of formation, because he's just going to be able to sit in behind that striker, make really nice runs into the box, and the ball control, dribbling, tight possession. This is a very, very nice player to have if you're looking to pick up a very versatile midfielder who's great on the ball. And talking about great on the ball, look at that balance stat, 90. That is insane. So under pressure, he's going to be absolutely fine. I bet you any money he's got soul control, and yes, he has in his player skills. So very, very, very nice player to have if you're going to use the finesse dribbling. Acrobatic finishing is a nice to have, not too essential, but one-touch passing, through passing are the ones you're looking for, and the double touch. So with that sort of ball control and dribbling, the double touch is going to be a really, really effective weapon for Coutinho here. And he's obviously got 80 for kicking power, so he can score the odd long ranger as well. So definitely a player I could recommend. His form is standard, and his C rating is his form rating is C. But yeah, I wouldn't put you off trying to sign this player based on that, and he can play any of the team styles, much like any of these players. Andreas Kondreva, cross specialist. He plays pretty much predominantly on the right hand side, but he can play the attacking midfield role as well. And just looking at this, his kicking power is really, really nice. So if you want to score those long rangers, 86 and above is crazy. It's crazy. Regarding the rest of his stats, ball control, tight possession, dribbling, lofted passing. He's not the slowest either. He's 76 and 74. That's quite nice to have. I'd probably train the acceleration to be higher than his speed just to make him feel good. He's got decent balance and stamina. So a very, very nicely rounded player, and a pretty good 4-star player, to be honest. I probably could recommend him for a 4-star nominating contract. Pinpoint crossing, dipping shot is a nice gimmicky one to have, same as knuckle shot. So he hasn't got the best player skills here. So on that fact, the fact he hasn't got first touch passing or one touch passing is probably a reason I would probably avoid signing this player. But you know, overall decent stats across the board, just perhaps lacking the player skills to make him a recommendation. Dani Alves from Barcelona, and recently came out and wasn't too happy about the way he's been treated and the way former Barcelona players were being treated. And looking at this guy, obviously he can play pretty much anywhere on the right hand side. So mainly he's been playing a right back most of his life, but he can play right midfield as well, and that's his sort of registered position here, which is kind of strange considering he played right back so frequently. But he did have a really, really good season for Barcelona last year. You can also play central midfielder as a central midfielder, and looking at these stats, he could definitely do those roles because his ball control is really good. Means he's going to be able to bring the ball under control pretty quickly. He's got decent lofted passes and low passing, as well as tight possession. So good at bringing the ball under control, turning, all that good stuff. Good, decent balance as well, and he suits the possession style game. If we look at his skills, one-touch passing is vital. Pinpoint crossing is great if you're in the wide areas. Captaincy is nice to have, and fighting spirit's a good one to have as well. And he has got double touch, so another useful trait to have in the wide area. So for 4 stars, I could definitely recommend Dani Alves. Joaquim, so right midfielder, but he can literally play anywhere. If you look at the player map in the top right corner, you know, decent ball control, dribbling, tight possession, lofted passing, very, very nice to have. And he's got good curling stats as well for those whipped crosses. You know, he's always a player I could definitely recommend. 4-star contract, very, very nice to have. Double touch. He's also got through passing, pinpoint crossing, captaincy, and super sub. So all great stuff to have there. So yeah, definitely a recommended player for 4 stars. The only thing he does lack is that one-touch passing, but I think I could overlook that, to be honest, because he can play anywhere. He's like an ideal player to have on the bench, especially being a super sub as well. So definitely a recommendation for versatility, and he looks like he could play anywhere in that midfield. And finally, Vitinha, who plays for Porto, and he mainly plays sort of central midfield, attack midfield area. He's only 21 years old, so if you have got a manager that boosts youthful players, this player is going to be able to take advantage of that. He's got decent ball control, dribbling, tight possession, lofted passing, good acceleration as well over his speed. That's a very nice points difference to have there. He's got really good balance as well. So very, very highly recommended player here. He's got one-touch passing, through passing, weighted passing. Those are the 3 key ones. He's also got soul control, which is very nice to have in those sort of advanced areas of the pitch. But he plays the orchestrator role, and that's a role I really recommend having in that midfield area. And despite his defensive engagement and the lack of interception, you probably will need to play him as a 3 in that midfield. But other than that, I think he'd be a really, really good 4-star rated signing. So my top 3 recommendations from this pack are Ibrahimovic, David Alaba, and Philippe Coutinho. The biggest avoid of all the players I've spoken about today is Haaland. Do not sign that guy. Just don't waste your points. You're going to be regretting it, I guarantee you. And when it comes to the legend pack, Peter Schmeichel is the one you need. Definitely for a goalkeeper. But just make sure you boost that goalkeeper awareness when you train him. A quick shout out to my channel supporters. Thank you so much, guys. Michael, Aiken and Lan. It's greatly appreciated. And if you do want to join, then don't forget to smash that join button. And if you do, that's greatly appreciated. That's pretty much it for this video, ladies and gents. Thanks for watching. I look forward to catching you guys next time. Take care and goodbye.